This is a short video that shows how to use the Quotidian Editor to create a timeline. First we'll look at the editor window itself, then we'll create a simple timeline. The Quotidian Editor is an editor for the structured data that defines timelines. One doesn't need to understand all the parts and options to start creating interesting timelines. The editor starts up with three parts. There are a set of lists for the major parts of timelines, smaller lists for error messages and search results, and an area to display forms for editing individual fields. You move between the lists with the tabs at the top of the window. Add a new row to a list, for example a new event, by moving to a list and hitting Control-N or Command-N on the Mac. Each field in a row is edited separately. The required fields have a pink background and are listed as errors until they're filled in. The other fields can be ignored until needed. Control-D deletes a row. A few fields for names or tags can be edited directly in place. Just move to the field and start typing. Return will finish editing. You can double-click with the mouse to edit existing text. Escape will forget the edits. Other fields are edited with forms. You can start them by selecting the field and typing anything, or by double-clicking on the field. A form appears in the lower left. When you're finished editing, type Return or hit the Accept button. A few of the fields sometimes use even more specialized editors. The date fields are usually simple text, but hitting the button allows complex dates. One can drag and drop or cut and paste data into most of the fields without involving the forms. This always works from data in the same field of different rows. It also works with fields that expect text or URLs. It will do its best to understand various date and time formats. To get information about any field or window, select the field and type function 1 or F1. A page is loaded into your web browser. We're going to create a timeline of the kings of France using a table from Wikipedia as our source. First, we set some values for the time zone and calendar we are using. Although time zones didn't exist in the 10th century, we choose Paris as the most reasonable choice. We also choose the Gregorian calendar and select the changeover date for when France changed from Julian to Gregorian. We name the file where we save the timeline. We now need to define a category. We attach events to categories to give them location and size in the non-time dimensions. They are like invisible tubes that events fit inside. Now we start creating events. We move to the Event tab and hit Control-N or Command-N on the Mac. Note that the error box shows several errors. These refer to missing data and disappear as we fill in values. We enter the name of the first king. Click on the Category field and a small form appears in the lower left. We select the only category. There's a button with a green push pin. If we set this, it makes the value sticky and means that the value will be used when we create new events. We drag and drop the start and end times from the table. That's really all you need for an event: a name for the label, start and end times, and a category. Okay, we're going to preview this by hitting Control-B. When we go back to 988, we see that indeed there is an event that starts and stops at the times we gave. We're going to add a little bit more information to the event. Going back to Wikipedia, we attach an image of the king by dragging the image URL into the image column. We're also going to add a link from the event back to the Wikipedia page for the king. We're going to add a color. The editor includes a file with lists of colors and label designs. Going back to the event, we find those colors are listed, and we pick one, a chocolate color. We find that there's one more pink field, not really an error, but a warning that you've not given a source for your data. Defining a source gives us a place to make a citation in whatever form is needed. Here it's very simple. We note down the URL of the Wikipedia page. When we go back to the event, we see the citation we made. We make this sticky. It has an extra field. If we cited a book, for example, we could use this field to give page numbers for this event. We preview again and see the event has an image of the king, and the event is a kind of chocolate color. Okay, let's make a second event. We hit Control-N and note that the two columns we made sticky are filled automatically. We take the next king and paste his name in. Since his beginning date is the same as Hugh's end, we drag it down. Copy the end date, and while we're here we add an image and a link to a page about Robert. Add a color, this time a green. Update the view and we see another event in the green color. We made a simple timeline and saved it to a file. There are lots more options. Experiment. Have fun.